one of the engagements that we've had over the last 12 months or so with QS has been around understanding better where our students come from, where students who apply to the UK come from, and really leveraging that data and that analysis to build a clearer strategy about which countries and which locations we should be thinking about and prioritising and focusing on. So it was a really interesting but also an important project for us, and we engaged actually initially at the this QS summit last year with colleagues from QS to discuss this. We were particularly interested in some of the new data sets and some of the new analytical techniques, and your global student flows model that you have developed and were developing at the time to help underpin that. And we then commissioned you as QS to do that work with us. That identified a group of 9 countries where there's going to be a significant proportion of international student flows and therefore growth, and we very much focused it on understanding which of those flows or what proportion of those flows would go to the UK compared to other countries. So that effectively was the overall framework. One of the things that was really good about the project was that it was very interactive. I think partly because QS was in the early stages of developing the global flows model and expanding it out, so in some ways we were allowed to work with you to not quite play with the data, but engage with the data and see what it implied and what it suggested, and I think that allowed a little bit of refinement and tweaking, but also because it's a flows model, it gave us a sense about future projections about what those flows would look like. So from a university perspective, we engaged closely with QS. We worked together to get the right approach and structure, and then particularly importantly for it to land well internally within the university. We engaged a lot of stakeholders across the university and looked quite a lot of detail at the analysis and the assessment work and the recommendations out of that as we were going through the project with QS. So the outcome for us is we've identified our key priority countries. There are 9 of them, and maybe as importantly, because we engaged a lot of colleagues across the university, the buy-in for that level of focus was really strong and really positive. So it's landed very well within the university.